So if, like me, you've shopped in the past week, most likely you have used the company I'm going to talk about now, Amazon. The history of Amazon is super interesting. It was set up as an online bookseller before the original .com bust of 2000. And I think that there were many moments when it was on the brink of not quite succeeding, but through sheer determination, grit, and of course luck, it is now the preeminent e-commerce marketplace that we all use, some of us love, and by the way, a company that has grown to an astounding scale. Hey folks, I'm Shrivo and you're watching The Big Buck Show. It's a show where we tell you how you can start your investment journey and, more importantly, how you can turn your small bucks into big bucks. Now, where do you see this coming from, right? Where does Amazon see its revenue come from? It has a couple of key businesses. Clearly, it has its consumer-facing e-commerce site, right? It's where people have Prime subscriptions and it sells everything under the sun. It also has its marketplace where it offers services to its sellers, and that monetization through services to Amazon suppliers or sellers on its consumer-facing marketplace is another key revenue stream. But what's been turbocharging Amazon's growth has been AWS, or Amazon Web Services. Because Amazon has so much internal usage of data centers and computing, it's set up a whole new business to provide the same to millions of customers around the world. And right now, AWS is what's really driving growth. And of course, as Amazon continues to do more, it is always looking at potential new businesses, again, all in the online and technology space. So Amazon's pretty interesting. It has a real growth engine in AWS. It has a very stable revenue base in its marketplace, and it's constantly looking to monetize, whether it's through Amazon Video or through the next avatar of Prime or through subscriptions. Like, there's lots of different plays. And the reason Amazon can make all these plays is because, again, like other members of the $1 trillion club, it has become part and parcel of our lives. It's very hard to imagine life with no interaction with Amazon, and because of that, it has plans to disrupt finance, it has plans to disrupt healthcare, it has plans to truly disrupt logistics, right? Because it is now a major logistics player. And so what it's going to do next is never that easy to predict, because it has a lot of options to create disruption and innovation in spaces that you may not expect it to enter. Having said that, I think there's a bear case or a down case on Amazon and a bull case or an up case on Amazon. The bear case, the naysayers would say, look, its best days are behind it. It's not growing as fast as it used to. The fact that it is $500 billion of annual revenue shows you that there isn't that much growth. So you know what? Don't invest. That's the case for folks who are not bullish on Amazon. For the bull case or the positive case, it says AWS will continue to grow and is likely to be the leader for a while in its space for computing. There are increasing opportunities to monetize the marketplace, both on the supply and the consumer end, and Amazon is primed to disrupt other traditionally physical industries through its model, which will give it plenty of more upside. I think the story is somewhere in the middle. I don't think Amazon's best days are all behind it, but I think it's not a sure shot that it will continue to grow at the pace that it has been growing at, because it does get harder as it scales even more. And so the interesting story for us to consider is, would you rather not invest in Amazon and potentially lose out on its next second wind or third wind? Or would you say, you know what, the founder's still very much there, there are synergies, and by the way, the craziest synergy that I've heard of is, hey, when Deep Blue, which is Bezos' space company finally makes it to Mars, Amazon will set up the first e-commerce marketplace on Mars and deliver to you because there's no way you can actually go shopping physically. It's hard to breathe, right? Now, I'm just saying that it's a fun insight and I don't think it's real, but there are synergies that you don't expect. There are likely continued new businesses that we are all not privy to. So I think it's not a bad bet at all to say, hey, let's actually take a look at the value Amazon could bring to your portfolio and put in at least some allocation so that you have the exposure to the upside, but you're not over invested so that if there is downside or if it's stagnant, you're losing out too much, right? The other question you should ask yourself is, well, who else is invested in Amazon, right? Like, am I in good company? And the largest investors are leading ETF providers like Vanguard, leading equities market players like BlackRock. And so therefore, I think that there is significant institutional investor interest in the company. It has a pretty solid base and footing. And as you think through what role it should play in your portfolio, I would personally make sure that there is some exposure to this stock. Again, I think a single Amazon share is pretty expensive. You're going to spend upwards of 3.5 lakhs. And if you can't or don't want to put in that big chunk of money, and that's a big chunk of money, right? Like 10 shares and you're talking about 35 lakhs, then there is a way to dip your foot in the water and start with 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 and see how this plays out and then be ready to jump in if you clearly see more upside. Now, there is one thing to consider. If we had had this conversation at the beginning of 2020, not that this was very obvious back then, but Amazon's share price has seen significant upside and its revenue has seen significant upside because of the pandemic. Because obviously what happened was everyone was at home, physical stores were largely shut for at least some period, and so online adoption and online throughput became extremely high and Amazon's marketplace revenue skyrocketed. By the way, its AWS revenue skyrocketed because there was more usage of online resources. And so I think what's happened is it has increased online adoption. 2020 has increased online adoption and Amazon is a net winner. And so, will there be another pandemic? Will there be something else? So generally my take on this is that it's well worth having exposure. Now, how much exposure is something you have to look at the rest of your portfolio and determining. Now, if you're still not sure and you need more information, go to my favorite app, Appreciate, and check out the stock detail page, check out the recommendations, and see what more information you need to make an informed decision. Also, while some of us may be happy to put in 40, 50 lakhs, I think most of us are happier to put in 15, 20,000. Go to the fractions, buy option, Appreciate, and put in what you think is an amount you can invest with ease, and then see how your fraction does. And this is the advantage in today's world of being able to access high quality stocks on your own terms and with one click. So in conclusion, here's my take on Amazon. And as an Amazon Prime member, I'm biased. While I understand the risks with the downside case, I really think there's plenty more to see from Amazon, and I personally have Amazon in my portfolio. I think it would be, not very prudent to ignore Amazon. Like, it's scaled more than most people expected. I think it will continue to scale. So if I were you, I would consider making sure that there is definitely some exposure to Amazon in your portfolio. And then, if you want to know more, like I said before, access the blog on this in the show notes or the description below. And of course, check out the Appreciate app where you can get more information so you can make an informed decision. This is Shubho signing off for The Big Buck Show. Hey folks, thanks for watching The Big Buck Show. And tell us how you thought about this episode in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel, please, and hit the notification bell so you get a notification next time a video shows up. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. We have a Twitter channel, a YouTube channel, and of course, also an audio podcast. And hey, Continue watching us so that you can turn your small bucks into big bucks.